Good morning and welcome to this week's Grow, where we gathered to recharge, organize, and work here as members of MWEG. We are continuing our Simply Connect series that we have been doing this summer, and this will be our last one, as we are talking about connecting with MWEG. And what does that mean as members? What does that mean if you're not a member and you're watching this? How can you connect with MWEG and be a part of our organization and work with us? So I have four important people. Everybody's important, but I have four important people that are going to talk to us, especially about connecting with MWEG today. We have Jalaire McMillan. She is our Director of Volunteers. We have Abby Greenwald. She is our one of our chapter directors. And we have Rachel Scholes, who is our Encircle Director of Membership. And we have Kira Shelton, who is our Assistant Director of Communications. So they are going to talk to us today. So I'm going to have Rachel Scholes go ahead and talk to us about how being a member, what that means, how connecting with MWEG and our membership benefits you as a member and how it benefits MWEG as an organization. And then we'll talk about moving into chapters. Once you're a member, what does that look like? And then volunteering, and then connecting through our newsletter and our social media. So Rachel, I'm going to turn the time over to you and to talk about membership.
Thanks. I'm Rachel and I'm in Tucson. We are sweltering hot, but maybe not quite as hot as the other Rachel in Phoenix. So real quick, I'm just going to share about my experience with joining MWEG, which was early 2017. And I had a ward member, dear friend, who just added me to this Facebook group that I had never heard of called Mormon Women for Ethical Government. But I knew as soon as I was in that I had made a vital connection. And I quickly made friends and felt at home as I was navigating this really new, kind of at the time, scary political landscape that was so new to all of us. And to be surrounded with all these other Mormon women who felt the same way that I did, and to have a place to go to talk about some of the things that we were worried about and to strategize ways, not only to try to make changes, but just for us to learn to live and find ways to function as we were still raising our families as things got so difficult for us. It was really a lifesaver to me. I, at some point, decided to start volunteering, and Jalaire is going to talk about how we can make that connection after me. But and as I volunteered, I became the Encircle Director, and I'm over membership now. And so I want to tell you that that's not the way I got added to MWEG, is not the way actually we want you to do it now, because we have evolved. So don't go and add your friends to the Facebook group, because it just makes it more difficult. But we do want you and all of your friends to connect with us. And I think as your friends do it, and as you connect to us in the right way, you're going to like what you see and like some of the offerings that we have. And I just want to share with you a couple of reasons why you should actually become a full MWEG member. And it's a really simple process. In fact, I like to say that joining MWEG is as simple as 1, 2, 3. The first thing you do is just go to mweg.org and you just click on the box that says join. That's it. And then it'll prompt you through. We're going to ask for your email and we're going to ask for your state. That's what you give us. And you have to agree to a few basics. So you have to agree that you are a woman, because you cannot join if you're a man. You do not have to agree that you're a member of the church, because you don't have to be. Your non-member friends can join. But you do need to be comfortable belonging to an organization that is faith-based. And you have to agree to live by our peacemaking principles and to try to make a difference. And then the third thing is that you will decide if you want the free membership or a sustaining membership. The sustaining membership absolutely helps our organization to grow, and the funds are used to do the things we want, but the free membership will give you all the perks of the sustaining. So that's it. So Why sign up? I know there's a few of you on Facebook that are still holding out and haven't actually gone through those steps. It really actually helps us. We look at our membership numbers, and the more our membership grows, the more power we have in the circles that we're advocating in. And so our voice is listened to and heard more, as we can say we have 7,000 members, or however many members. We're hoping to grow that number. So the more we have, the more people listen. And as you connect with us, we have one more woman who has unique knowledge and unique experiences that you can share with us. Super helpful. One more voice that could write an op-ed, one more voice that can speak with your own experience and your own knowledge to our elective representatives, whether it's through an email or actually face-to-face. It is, we have opportunities for you to connect in important ways that will help our work, and it helps us. Let me quickly share 4 things that actually becoming a full member will give you, that I think that will make it worth the 2 minutes that it'll take you to sign up. The first thing is, once you sign up, you will get onto our newsletter list. And so you will get twice a month a newsletter. It's a really simple newsletter. It'll just share with you the things that we're doing and how you can connect different advocacy opportunities, 5-minute ways that your voice can be heard. 2, you'll have an opportunity to connect with other women in some of our many offerings. We have a book club that meets once a month and that reads some really interesting books. We have started doing living room conversations where you can join in a live conversation with other women talking about some difficult topics, and you learn to converse in a way that you can see other people's perspectives and listen to learn rather than listen to debate and respond. It's a hard skill to learn, but they are terrific. You can connect with our members in some of our special events like our spring conference and our screenings, which I think we're going to do more of, the abortion talks, or other things that we might have coming up. And you can connect every day if you want to by coming to our Facebook discussion group and connecting there. Third, you have an opportunity to connect with women in your own state. Many of you, and I'm going to let Abby talk about this, but that is a super important thing that we do. So that's all I'm going to say. And finally, you have an opportunity to connect with some of our expertise that we offer you for free. One of those is our op-ed writing lab. And I've had numerous experiences with our op-ed writing lab. It was about almost a year, September, a year ago today, I finally got my first op-ed published. And I had tried 3 times before, and it was the 4th one that got published. But I used the op-ed lab for every one of those. I did my first draft of an op-ed. I submitted it to the lab, and they came back within an hour with edits that I could do and ways to make it better, and offers to help me find ways to place it, which I felt comfortable on where I wanted to place it. And after I followed some of their suggestions, made the edits, I submitted it. I had a response back in 2 hours from the editor of that paper that my piece on sepsis awareness was going to be published. And then it was published in like an hour. It was crazy. So that was a free service. I didn't have to pay them. The people that are running this lab have published many op-eds. They're professional writers. So it's an awesome opportunity. A second thing we have that I just participated in this summer is an advocacy academy where our environmental lead taught some of the women in Arizona about environmental policy here and some of the issues. And she is teaching us and preparing us that we can actually make a difference in the policy making that as we go forward in our state that involves water and electricity generation. So that has been fun. Finally, and this one might even be my favorite one because this one helped me outside of MWEG, is our practical peacemaking course that is found in our portal. So as a member, you can go there, you can find it, you can access it, and it teaches you ways to resolve conflict. You guys, 2 months ago, I am kind of feisty. My husband is kind of feisty. We both think we're right all the time. And so resolving conflicts can be difficult. And about 2 months ago, we were in one of these and I felt things rising, and I took a step back and I said, I know how to do this better because I had been listening to this course. And so I asked my husband, hey, can we meet together? And can we try to resolve this conflict? And using the principles I learned in there, changed the way that we communicated with each other 100%. It took about 2 hours, but we totally resolved a very difficult conflict. And I didn't pay a penny for this course. It's amazing sitting there in the portal. So I just want to encourage you to go in. If you have not signed up for membership, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Go through those 5 steps, take the 2 minutes and become a full member, and let us add one more to our list of our number of MWEG members.
That's great. There's so many benefits that just being a member allows you to have access to that you were talking about. And there are even benefits to being a sustaining member, that we have some of those deep dives that are for our sustaining members with professionals in certain areas that come and do discussions and educate us on different things. So there's kind of those different levels. So you're right. There's so many benefits, and it benefits the organization as a whole because there is strength in those numbers. Now, Abby, will you talk to us about chapters and what that looks like?
Absolutely will. Yeah, thank you. So Rachel has done an excellent job of giving us an idea of what it looks like to be an MWEG member. And so I asked myself a few questions, and I'm going to tell you my questions, and then I'm going to tell you the answers that I came up with to my own questions. So my first question is, what are chapters? So chapters are state-based groups of MWEG members with local leaders in the state. They meet or correspond regularly. That could be virtually or in person. So we do have some groups that like to gather around in person, especially in the summer. They're doing some summer socials, but we can have great MWEG meetings over Zoom or Google Meet. And then these regular discussions that happen in our online groups. So we have some online Facebook groups. We have a little bit of activity in the MWEG portal. And then we have one chapter with an excellent group me. And there's just this ongoing discussion between members all the time. We recognize that MWEG has a reputation for excellence and for being academic. And we also recognize that chapters are where we let our hair down just a little bit. We do have rules for conduct that people agree to. Our online communities are moderated, but we still find that that's a space where we can be a little more casual because we want it to be relational. We want connection among members to really just be relationship based. So chapters work around the 4 E's. The MWEG founders gave us these 4 E words to focus around. So encircle, educate, engage, and empower. So in chapters, we try to encircle. We build relationships. We help people find a place of belonging or connection. And then we educate. We learn together. So Rachel just mentioned a lot of those great MWEG resources. There's the principled citizenship work, there's Meet Your Legislator courses, the principles of peacemaking. Chapters meet and discuss and practice these skills and resources together so that they go away with knowledge and skills that they didn't have before. And then we engage. So engage is the MWEG word that also means advocacy. So chapters with greater membership and strong leadership sometimes engage in advocacy work. And in both educate and engage work, we like to see in chapters a little bit of local flavor. So chapters are the best when members are able to connect on the issues that matter to them locally. So we like to take inspiration and energy and put it into things that that they care about. And then we also take guidance from MWEG National into areas where we can make unique impact. So there's lots of support and lots of collaboration all around. So just a few examples of that local flavor. In Nevada and Arizona, there is energy around environmental issues, water conservation, land conservation, I think Rachel mentioned some electricity generation. So these environmental issues are a big deal for the people who live there. And it just fits for MWEG to work on the things that are on people's hearts. The same thing in Texas. Texas likes to work on immigration together. In Idaho, where they face some extremism, they really like to work on protect democracy issues. And they have a special fondness for guest speakers. So the Idaho chapter will often gather together to hear from a local expert. And in Washington State, they've had some really successful work with the practical peacemaking curriculum that Rachel talked about. So we encircle, we educate, we engage, and we empower. The fourth E, where we connect women with these resources, we build skills, we build relationships so that they can live into their citizenship more fully. And we love an MWEG success story, don't we? So we feel like it's success when our women work together, when they do things in the name of MWEG to make a difference. But we also really love it when people go do a thing independently and then come back and say, I was able to do this because of what I learned in MWEG. I was able to write this letter, or I was able to make a public comment, or I was able to get a new job, or I was able to stay calm during a tough family discussion because of what I learned in MWEG. Those are really great stories. So that's the answer to my first question. That's what a chapter is. And so you might wonder, okay, well, is it really this good? Like, what do people say about the chapter that they're in? And most often what we hear is that people have found a place of belonging, like Rachel mentioned, that they found companionship, that they've broadened their perspectives, and they've learned some skills, how to advocate in their state and local government. So if you're convinced and you want to know how to join your chapter, that's the next question. How can I join a chapter? So the first thing to do is please make sure that you have joined MWEG. Please do what Rachel said and go to mweg.org. You can search for the list of chapters there, and each chapter is represented just by a logo. You click it, it'll take you to your Facebook discussion group. But please also make sure that your MWEG profile is up to date and make sure that it has your state included. Often we find that women have been registered with MWEG for a long time, but they didn't include their state. And if you haven't included your state, you can't get state-specific information. So this is a plug to update your info and make sure that you're registered. And then if you're super convinced, your next question might be, how can I start a chapter in my state? And I'm so glad you asked, because it's a big process. So consider your willingness to put 8 to 10 hours a month into building relationships with the women around you in your state and interacting with them about civic issues. And if you have searched your heart and you still feel that this is a good idea, then we'll have you fill out the volunteer interest survey first. Jillaire's going to tell us about that in just a minute. And you could email me. My email is abby.greenwald@mweg.org, and you could do that. And if you do that, I'll say, I'm so glad you emailed me. Please fill out the survey. So go ahead. That is your first step. And we will work together to lay groundwork in your state. We'll assess their membership, we'll assess energy level, and work together to get some things going. We will launch chapters at specific times of the year. So it's not just an ongoing thing, but we'd work together to lay some groundwork first and then do a couple chapter launches each calendar year. So I'm always happy to plug chapters and answer any questions that I can. And thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks, Abby. That is, I can testify to chapters, even though I feel like I'm not as active in my chapter as I should be, but I get the information and there's things that I'm like, that is something I can do. That is something I can do with my chapter, and not all of the chapter always participates, but people share local information that I can latch onto and say, yep, that's something I can do. That's something I have time for, or that's something I can attend. So I like the camaraderie, and I've met women that I thought, oh, I had no idea that somebody that just lives really close to me is in my chapter and active in the chapter. And now I've watched women in my Arizona chapter who are, becoming leaders in the community, just one town over, or just different things. So yes, I love the camaraderie that comes through chapters, that it kind of takes the big MWEG and then brings it down to local. So Jalaire, talk to us about volunteering and how that kind of takes that same idea and adds us into the mix.
Yeah. So my name is Jalaire McMillan, and I am the director of volunteers for MWEG. And I live in Colorado, where it's going to be hot today, but not as hot as Arizona. So I, like Rachel, joined MWEG in the early days back in 2017. And I'm the type of person that kind of always likes to have my fingers in the pot, in all the pots. And so I kind of immediately said, I am so interested. I want to do something. I want to get more involved. What can I do? And so my first volunteer role was actually as one of the Facebook discussion group moderators. And in the early days, it was pretty crazy. We were making everything up as we went along. And so I did that for a long time. And then eventually I've transitioned into a few different positions. And now I oversee all of the volunteers and kind of the intake process and recruiting and staffing and helping all of our other leaders to find the women that they need to help fill the positions that they would like filled to kind of keep MWEG running. And so that is just kind of, if you've become an official member, you have joined your chapter and you're getting a little bit more involved with local issues, but you're interested in kind of leveling up in another way, volunteering is the next natural step for you to connect with MWEG. One of our volunteers, Stacy Smith, who is in Texas, she decided to volunteer more. She said, I wanted to volunteer to learn more. And I knew that I wouldn't get started unless I jumped in. And so for her, it was a way of kind of making a commitment and saying, okay, I know I will learn more because I have a position, because I have a job. And she's doing fantastic things in the Texas chapter now. And so the way, and so volunteering has a lot of different, I would say, benefits and perks. Some of the benefits and perks are for MWEG as an organization, right? Obviously, you're going to be giving time, you're going to be giving your skills, giving your abilities to the organization. And that benefits us all. We have about 75 to 100 volunteers, and they give anywhere from 1 to 2 hours a month to 1 to 2 hours a day, I would say, some of them. And so there are a lot of different ways that you can engage and get involved that will fit around your schedule. And so you're going to be giving to us. But we also believe you're going to be getting a lot. So our volunteers really have spoken up in a lot of different ways and said the things that they love about volunteering for MWEG are the connections that they get with other women and the relationships that they have. Whitney Farron is one of our Facebook discussion group moderators, and she is also working with Rachel Scholes on some of the membership journey and membership experiences. And so she said about volunteering, it's so fun. I have made so many friends and had so many opportunities to think and use my brain. And it's all been completely flexible around my busy life. Everybody else is busy too. And we all just do what we can and things get done, and it's kind of magical. And to give you some context, Whitney is a mother of 5 who homeschools, who has had a baby since becoming a volunteer, and also made a military move in the last year or 18 months. And so she has been able to find a way to fit it around her time, around her busy life. And for her, it has been really rewarding because of the relationships that she's made and the way she's getting to use her brain and learn new things. And so that's one of the other things that we think volunteering offers is learning new things, learning and gaining skills that some of the things that Abby and Rachel have mentioned, like the Advocacy Academy and peacemaking, those are kind of skills that we offer to all members, but our volunteers kind of get in deep in a lot of these different areas. But we also try to offer some other kind of concrete and soft skills that can help you in your career. We, in addition to all the advocacy work that MWEG does, a big part of the mission of this organization is to empower and uplift women. And for so many of us, I think a lot of us, I think on this call and in our organization have been stay-at-home moms and either not involved in the workforce or only kind of part-time or intermittently employed over the course of our adult lives. And so sometimes the chance comes to enter the workforce and we're not sure what to put on a resume and what to do, and how we have been able to kind of what skills we have to offer an employer. And we also see some women coming to us to volunteer who feel that same way. And we strongly believe that all the experiences that we have as women, and especially as Mormon women who serve in callings, who run households, who often volunteer in our schools, we already possess a lot of amazing skills that will benefit an employer or will benefit an organization like MWEG. And so you have a lot to offer. But we also, in our volunteering, we offer training that gives skills in like Google Suite. You don't know how to use Google Docs, Google Calendars? We have training for that. You know, haven't ever run a meeting before? We can have you do that. We can do different things and offer different skills and like a job title that can be something that you can add to a resume if that's something that you want or are interested in pursuing. We have also had a lot of women go back to school for master's degrees and other advanced education. And they've come to me and asked me to write letters of recommendation because they said, I don't have an employer that I can do that with, but you supervised me as a volunteer. And so I feel like that's something that would work. And to date, those women have gotten into their programs. So I'd like to think that MWEG had a role in that, right? And offering them some extra skills, and also the actual relationship that they had a supervisor that could write a letter of recommendation. And so that's one of the things we also think volunteering offers to you, is it kind of gives you some of those concrete skills and job titles that can be an advantage to you if you need it. And so I wanted to just share one other thing from a volunteer. Well, three other things, not all from volunteers. Number one, I forgot to say, we do have a website that has some additional information. It's on the MWEG website. You can go to mweg.org/volunteer, and it will lead you to a little bit more information about volunteering, some FAQs that we may not have addressed here. And it also has a link to the volunteer application. Abby called it the volunteer interest survey because that's what we used to call it, and we've updated it and are now just calling it the application. And so it's the same thing. And so there's a link to that, which I think Rachel is also dropping into the Facebook comments. And so if you are interested in volunteering, that's the way to go. And so I forgot to say there, just to give an example of some of the positions that we have open right now, we kind of have a broad range, and there's always a broad range of things to do in MWEG. And so if you think, I don't know very much about an issue, but I want to learn more, you can get involved with an advocacy team and learn more. Or you already know a lot, get involved with an advocacy team and help bring those skills. And so we're interested in women who already know a lot, or who are just really keen and interested and are willing to put in the time to research and learn more. Okay. But we also have some background jobs. MWEG is run by women helping and kind of creating a lot of scaffolding. And so we're looking for someone who can be an assistant treasurer. And so if you have like any accounting or bookkeeping experience, we would love someone who can help our board treasurer to do some auditing. And so that's something that we need help with. We have a new advocacy area called the Children and Families. And we're looking for some women who can help do some research in that area and on those issues and contribute to that group. We're looking for additional media literacy specialists, women who are interested in looking at news and media and educating other women and members on being good media consumers. If you'd like to help with the Facebook discussion group, there are a couple of different ways to help there. And then also, as Abby mentioned, state volunteer positions for chapters. And so there's a lot of opportunities there. Then the best part of our volunteer application is that if none of those sound good to you, you can click on I want to help in other ways, and then just tell us about you. I don't think we've ever not been able to find a position for someone who is interested in helping. And so if you're not sure what you want to do, tell us more about yourself, what your interests are, what issues you care about, and we'll connect you with someone and find a good fit for you and for MWEG. And the beauty is, as I said, there are so many different ways to volunteer and so many different time commitments that you can give, whether it's a couple of hours a month, a couple of hours a week, and lots of ways that you can support this organization that are visible and less visible, but still just as important. And so the last thing I want to say is something from Rebecca Bratzman, who is one of our volunteers, who was a Facebook discussion group moderator, and then is now decided to take a break from that after doing that for a long time and is now a media literacy specialist. She said, if you're ready to grow personally, you should try volunteering. If you're ready to find your voice, you should try volunteering. If you're ready to support women, you should try volunteering. There's space for you here to volunteer in whatever capacity you're able. And I totally echo that when I read what she'd said about volunteering. I said, yep, that's it. So please feel free to reach out to me or to fill out that volunteer application and we'll get you started.
Thanks, Jalaire. That is I love that. Rebecca's experience and her encouragement to get people on board and to come and volunteer. So I'm going to turn the time over to Kira, because what is connecting with MWEG? Maybe people don't want to volunteer, but they want to see what we're up to, and they want to know, they kind of just want to know what part of MWEG maybe interests them and what advocacy areas we're working on. So what or where would you direct them to find that information?
Hi. So I think that one of the cool things about MWEG social media is it's a place that most all of us have connected to MWEG. The organization started, primarily as a Facebook group. So we've expanded our social media since then, but that is the way in which most of us have figured out what this organization is and have seen it. And our job as we work as a social media team is just to be able to package the information, the peacemaking support, the calls to action, the media literacy skills, to package it in a way that you can get little bits of that regularly. But there's some tricks to help you connect to MWEG social media a little bit better, and to make sure that you're seeing our content and to be able to make it a part of your day as you scroll and help other people as well. Because social media is kind of an algorithm game a little bit. So one thing is, starting with the Facebook group, is knowing that we have, you guys here know that we have a Facebook discussion group, but some of our members don't always know that. They just know our main page where we post things. But one of the best parts of MWEG on Facebook is this discussion group. So telling your friends that that's something that you're a part of. I've interacted with people who I know with MWEG, and they've been surprised. They were like, wait, there's 2 different pages on Facebook for MWEG. So making sure that people know that there's, if they're a member, that they need to hop on this group, the Facebook discussion group, because this is where so much action and interaction happens. And then, as you've kind of heard as earlier, the chapter pages. Our chapter pages are such a great way to know about what's happening locally. And for me, it's felt really empowering as I've learned and become more competent and more involved in my local politics, because specifically of my MWEG local chapter Facebook page, where people, some of our chapter leaders have created small courses, how to interact with your legislator, or how to know what's going on, and how do you read these when the legislature's in session. How do you know what you're looking for? How do you read these bills? How do you know where it is in the process? And all of those are things I've learned from my local chapter page, because it's different from state to state. And I've known when and where I might want to send a letter to a county official or a city official, because the people on these pages are so engaged, and where I'm not really informed, they are. And it's been so helpful for me to feel like I had a piece to share in this group and a piece to share in my community, because other people knew things that I didn't. And this is a space where it's shared. I don't always have other friends that are involved in sharing these things, but these are my friends who do, and I count on that, and I love it. With Instagram, if you follow us, our handle is at MormonWEG for almost everything, at Mormon at WEG. That's what it is on Instagram. And though, if you aren't seeing, as you follow us, if you follow us on Instagram and you're not seeing about 3 posts a week and stories probably 4 to 5 times a week, you're not getting our content the way we're sharing it. That's how often we share. And the way to make sure that you are is just kind of playing the game. So things that really help to make sure that you are seeing our content, and things that help other people additionally see our content, is like hitting that heart button. Likes always helps to make sure that the algorithm, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or elsewhere, knows that this is what you want to see. You like this, we're going to bring you more of it. On Instagram, that little save button, it kind of looks like a ribbon bookmark. Click if there's something that you like, that you want to remember, that you want to be able to quickly go back to. Clicking that save button is a great way for you to be able to keep track of that information, and you don't have to scroll through all of our stuff again. And it additionally shows that algorithm, you like this so much that you want to come back to it. We're going to show you more of it. Commenting is a great way to engage. That's a great way to help that content stay in other people's faces too. So likes, comments, saving, even this is a silly one too, but even if you copy the URL of something on Facebook or something on Instagram, that helps the algorithm know this is something that you are wanting to share. We also have a YouTube channel. Subscribe. You'll find each one of these grows there. And I like to use that almost like our MWEG podcast, because I can flip on the channel on a grow that I haven't listened to or watched, or a town hall deep dive that I haven't seen. I can click on it. We have playlists on there as well. So as you go through, it'll automatically start a new one for you. But while I'm cleaning, I can listen to this content. I don't always need to watch it, but I love using it as, like I said, like kind of an in-home podcast while I'm cleaning. I can catch up on peacemaking skills. I can learn about specific issues. I can engage in areas that I'm less familiar with, but leave feeling like I have tools to communicate about an issue, to learn more information. I know where to go and how to look. And I always leave feeling like I've had so much support after I leave one of these grows. We're also on Twitter, and we're new to Threads as well. The same handle. Twitter and Threads is a great place to know who we're kind of talking to. If we're trying to get leaders and legislators to listen to our message, we love calling them out on there. You'll also find the news that's important to us, and what we're talking about. So if whatever social media you engage in, we want to be there, and we want you to be able to see what we're creating and how we want you to learn about what we've got. So if, like, again, if you're not seeing like 3-ish posts a week on Instagram, hop on our page and give it some likes, and you'll start seeing so much great material on peacemaking, on media literacy we do every Monday. Peacemaking skills we do on Fridays, and middle of the week we catch you up on our calls to action. Like we have one right now for the Afghan Adjustment Act. We want people to talk to their legislators about making sure that our Afghan allies have a permanent way to live and work in the United States. And we've got great links for that. And we always, when we do a call to action and we post them on Instagram and here on Facebook, we always include tools for that to be something that you can do in well under 10 minutes. Typically in like 2 to 3 minutes, you've got a letter out, an email to all of your legislators. So one of the things we really want is for the information that we have here on MWEG to be easy for you to have. And that's why you should be following us on social media, giving us those likes so it comes to you and you see it. That's what I've got.
Thanks, Kira. I want to just second, Kira puts out some really great content. And even if you're doing it for entertainment value, follow the Instagram page for some great MWEG information and entertainment. It's really great. And I will also say, the grows on the YouTube channel, it's something fairly recent for us that we've put them out there that you can share the grows publicly. The links are public, and it's a way for you to know what MWEG's all about and what kind of things we're discussing and are important as an organization. There's a lot of practical peacemaking grows on there. There's media literacy grows on there. And those are ones that are part of series that we've done. So if you want to know more, I would jump on there and kind of listen to those. As Kira was saying, you can listen to them as a podcast. Just put them on your phone, put them in your pocket. You don't have to watch the video as much. And if there's something that interests you, then you can go back and kind of look at the if there's a slide or anything that goes with that. I just want to thank everybody for being here, Jalaire, Kira, Rachel, and Abby, for joining the Grow today, and just want to encourage anybody that's watching to find a way, whether it's really just small through, like we said, social media, or through the newsletter, through participating with a call to action, or if it's as much as volunteering, either in your chapters or on a national level, whatever fits your interests. There is a place for you here at MWEG. And we hear so often, the conference is something that is dear to my heart because that's something I'm in charge of each year. And we get feedback from women that attend our conference that are a little bit skeptical about MWEG, and they've been invited by a friend who come and they say, I feel like I found people that I can communicate with, because we've all been working on our practical peacemaking communication skills. And it's something that, even though we may not see eye to eye on certain issues, we can have a discussion, and we're all learning how to do that together. And so they say, I feel like I found my people. And it doesn't mean that we're all the same. It means that we are all bringing our strengths and talents together for the collective good. And that's why we hope you'll join us and hope that you'll connect with MWEG. So I hope you have found something great and meaningful to you today in connecting with MWEG, and in this summer Simply Connect series that we've been doing. It's still on our website. You can go through. You don't have to follow along week by week. You can go back and do some of the different suggestions that we have for the different weeks. And if you want to start over, you can start over and just keep cycling throughout the year, because you'll definitely have different experiences when the legislature is in session, or when your kids are in school and they're having maybe discussions about history or civics and those different things. Constitution Day is coming up. I know some states and towns have big celebrations towards that, and maybe you can kind of put that into, with a Simply Connect thought of, how can I connect with my community and attend one of those and educate. So thank you for being here. We hope you'll come back next week. We're going to talk about the Afghan Adjustment Act with Miranda Cutler, and why we want you, and why it's important to MWEG, and why it should be important to us as members and as citizens. So thank you again for being here, and we see you next time.